So the first spirit we're going to look at is Vital Strength of the Earth. One thing you should know about Spirit Island is that a low complexity spirit does not imply a low powered spirit. It simply means the spirit should be easier for you to play well. Don't think of it as a lesser spirit by any means. I recommend for all first or second or even third time players to pick a medium or low difficulty spirit to begin with. Strength of Earth's special rule, Earth's Vitality, is a very useful defensive ability, allowing you to block 3 damage in any land in which you have a sanctuary. Strength of Earth's presence tracks will make it very easy to gain energy, but slow to playing power cards. Use this to your advantage by jumping into those major powers early in the game, as you should have plenty of energy to use them. Earth's innate power, however, is quite weak on the early tiers and requires a lot of cards to be able to unlock the stronger, more useful tiers. When you first start playing, I would recommend just not even bothering trying to use that, and maybe we'll talk more about that later. Your starting powers, half of them are slow. The ones that do a lot of damage is slow, and it can feel restrictive as you don't have a lot of cards to play early on. Try to think of this, though, as forcing you to focus your attention on certain areas, and even though you don't get to do a lot of moves, every move you can do tends to be very powerful if done correctly. Okay, let's play through the first couple turns to show you how I like to open up with this guy. Now, this isn't necessarily the best way to play this guy, this is the way I like to play it. We just happened to pull the jungle card first, and so you'll see on the board that that's where the explorers went. When you're first playing, if you're having trouble winning this game and you feel like it's unwinnable, just take the blight card and toss it off the board. Use the printed version that's right on the board where you add 5 blight per player. This will just make it simpler, and it even suggests in the rules that you do this for the first few games. Now my goal here is going to be to get a bunch of major powers into my hand and play those every turn. Normally this is a terrible idea, as you will quickly run out of energy and won't be able to do anything. But with Strength of the Earth you gain so much energy so early on that it's a very viable strategy and probably the best that I've found. We're going to take the presence off our energy track and gain a power card. We're just going to do a minor power card at this point and put our presence on the jungle space that we already started with 1 presence on at the beginning of the game as part of the setup. This will give us a sanctuary right off the bat. I chose to play the power draw of Fruitful Earth so that I can bring some Dohan onto this land and possibly pull some explorers off onto this land as well. As I will be defending it, I want this Dohan to kill any explorers that might be on the spot or lingering about the surrounding areas. So we didn't have any fast actions, so we went right to the build of the jungle. And we get wetlands, so we're going to have explorers explore on all the wetlands in which we have adjacent buildings. And the next turn, jungles will ravage, wetlands will build. So at this point you're thinking, oh crap, we didn't do anything useful. Explorers are going all over this island. There's no hope. Let's do what our slope ability says now. We're going to gather 2 explorers and gather 2 Dohan. Now we're gathering the explorer out of the wetlands because they're going to build their next turn. So if we gather him out, he's not going to build. And then we'll gather some Dohan to fight back after these explorers try to ravage. For our next turn, we're going to pick the growth option to add a presence 1 away and gain some energy. And this is sort of optional. You could choose to reclaim cards if you want, but I figured let's take the extra energy, and now we're already collecting 6 energy on top of the 2 we already had. Man, we've got energy. Now we're going to pick the Year of Perfect Stillness. All invaders will skip all actions and target the land, and we will target this other jungle that we were unable to do anything with the previous turn. We're going to put this token here to remind ourselves. Now remember, jungle's ravaging, wetlands are building. And now we're just preventing the jungle from ravaging. But up in here, this spot, number 4 spot, the jungles will ravage. But we have a sanctuary, and our special rule is if we have a sanctuary, we defend for 3. The explorers are doing 4 damage. We defend for 3. So the Dohan gets hurt once, which isn't enough to really do anything. Now the Dohans are going to fight back, kill the town, and kill both explorers. Voila! We did it! It's clear! Hooray! And we got fear. Okay, growth phase again. We're going to do the middle option to gain another power card. And of course, we get our energy for the round. Now we have a ton. Alright, we are going to go for a major power. So we have to choose one of these to get rid of. If you remember, we got a power card already early on. And we're just going to discard the one we got early on. It was a minor one. And these happen to be the 4 major power cards we picked up. Now I'm looking for a card that's going to do a lot of damage. One that's going to cost a lot because I have all the energy to spend, and if it costs more, it's going to be more powerful. And several of these have, these weren't the best ones ever, but I decided in the end to go with the Poison Land card because it does a lot of damage, and even though it adds a blight, I have a power that can remove blight. Now for the rest of the game, I will probably never need to pick the growth action that lets me gain more energy. I can choose from the first 2, whether to spread out or to add another presence to make a sanctuary and gain a power card. I am playing my Poisoned Land card that I just picked, that major power, and just to remind ourselves, because it is a slow action, I'm going to put it here on the mountain land. Now, just to speed this video up some, we're going to go through the Invader Actions. The wetlands are going to ravage. I was unable to defend the number 8 wetland, so that gets a blight. And also the mountains are going to build. Now, I have a lot of blight on this board already, and now I'm about to add more blight with my Poison Land card, but I'm not too worried about that. Sometimes you have to break a few eggs to make an egg sandwich. So now we're going to poison this land here. It's going to do 7 damage, which is going to kill all these invaders. And that also is going to generate 3 more fear, plus the fear on the card, so that's 4 fear, 1 turn. I'm going to have to add a blight, and I'm going to have to remove my presence, because I put a blight on the board. But now we're back to a relatively clear spot on the board, which is always good. For the rest of the game, we will now just keep reclaiming our major powers, gaining more major powers, and taking presence off the card track. Well, that's my beginner's guide to Vital Strength of the Earth. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, there's more ways to play this spirit, but I find this to be a very straightforward and fun way to play this particular spirit, and easy for anyone getting started in the game. Hopefully it brings you lots of success too.